Good evening. When I told this story this past February, the theme of the evening, as Jared said, was "We Love Love." And when I first heard that, my reaction was, ugh. That sounds like the corniest Hallmark movie cliche there ever was. My teenage hoodlum friends and I used to use the expression, "I'm in love with love," as a sort of shorthand for exactly that flighty, insubstantial, idealist type that we all thought deserved our scorn. But, as they say, there's love and there's love. Mostly, we hear about the love's first bloom phase, where everything is picnics and meadows and hearts going pitter-patter. This is because the poets and the dreamers write about this type of love almost exclusively. But love is also that same couple whose hearts stopped going pitter-patter 30 years ago. But one of them still digs the other's car out of the snow without being asked, so they don't have to and get wet feet. It's absent-mindedly putting your hand on the corner of a table when your partner bends over so they don't bonk their head. It's taking the heel of the loaf, even though you don't much like it either. Don't ask me why that one comes to mind. Love shines in these pinpoint small kindnesses. It's how we honor our vows. It's how we show that though it might be buried in 30 years of nagging, button pressing, bills and pills, love lies underneath it all. And as someone of a certain age, that is to say, careening headlong towards decrepitude, I've come to understand the love and pride of the next generation of the family, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. You know that thing that old people do who see you once every few years, when they tell you the same thing every time they see you? I've been there, and we've all been there. Inside your head, you're sarcastically responding to them even before they're finished. Yes, yes, Aunt Mildred, you remember when you could hold me in the crook of your arm. I get it. I was small once. I get it. But we're more polite than that, of course. We smile and make a comment about us being too young to remember, and we let them have their memory. And now that I'm one of those older members of the family, in an instant I've come to understand completely where that behavior comes from and why it's so irresistible to do it myself. When I was in my early 20s, I was over my father-in-law's house for some event or other, and making her debut into society was my recently born niece. Let's call her Brianna, because that's exactly what her name is. Now, I just want to make clear my stance regarding babies at the time. I didn't not like them exactly, but I was definitely afraid of them. I was always the guy who demurred when a baby was being passed around for a cuddle. I didn't know how they worked. I marveled at how easily they broke, how readily and enthusiastically they puke and pee and poop. To me, babies were fragile, smelly things that exploded unpredictably from every opening, and that I wanted no part of. Brianna, especially, was a small baby, easily the smallest baby I had ever seen. And she just seemed unimaginably delicate, like she was made out of spun crystal. Well, of course, Brianna's mother passed her around, and as always, when it was my turn, I held my hands in front of me and sputtered, "Oh, no, 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 thank you, no, no, thanks." Panic creeping into the edge of my voice and beads of sweat forming on my forehead. It was every inch as pathetic a sight as you're currently imagining. My wife, who was to my left and a little bit above me, my sort of line of sight, arched an eyebrow at me. And I knew what that eyebrow meant. This one wasn't just a baby. She was family. And I was going to hold her if it killed me. Or her. Well, I'm sure you can guess how the rest of the story goes. Support the head and neck, a little gurgling face looking up at me. I was hooked in an instant. And in that instant, I gained a perspective on family that I had never had before. Exactly how precious the next generation of the family truly is. And I understood the simple truth of the matter. When old people look at you with their eyes shining and say that they remember when you were just this big, they're really just bursting to overfull with pride. They're not just making an observation about your size. What they're saying is, look at the person you've become. I'm so proud of you. And even if all your decisions were completely different, I'd be just as proud. Brianna, by the way, grew up to be a nurse, so there's plenty to be proud of there. And herself gave birth this year to her third child, my grandniece Juliet, just a few weeks before I originally gave this talk. Though we haven't met yet, they're some hundreds of miles away, I'm looking forward to seeing her this Christmas and giving her a cuddle. I think this particular flavor of love is every inch as deserving of its time from the poets and the dreamers, but let them write about romantic love all they want, I suppose. They can use words like yearn and longing and rhyme moon with swoon and June to their heart's content. This kind of love will have to be left with storytellers like us and appreciators of stories like you here at FoxTales. I think we're in good hands. Thank you.